This video, again, is brought to you by Brandon Williams. Thank you, Brandon, for your request and for your contribution.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah.
With your contribution from viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I feel let's just jump right into this. This needs no further introduction. This is kind of self-explanatory now. We are at part 3 in my history of looking into Playhouse Disney. Not sure how many more we will continue of these, but right now we're in the trilogy phase of it, and we're gonna look at Ooh and Ah, Choo Choo Soul, Johnny and the Sprites, and Little Einsteins. So buckle up, because we're going to first start with
Yeah. Come on. All aboard, all aboard.
Choo Choo Soul. And this aired in 2005, and Choo Choo Soul was kind of like a little mini segment or a little mini segue in between shows. When you, let's say for example, you had Bear in a Big Blue House from 7 to 7:30. The next show would be, say, Special Agent Oso at 7:30 to 8. And in between the commercials and like around like the 7:27, 7:28 mark, Choo Choo Soul would be a segment that'd be kind of like sandwiched in there. This had 4 seasons, and after 2 studio albums, millions of views on YouTube, and a Parents' Choice Award. And there was also apparently a live concert of this. I'm going to guess. I don't know when. I tried looking up when. It kind of didn't end, but kind of did. But I think this show, along with a few other things, became lost media. However, no need to fear. In 2019, it aired back on Disney Plus, and hopefully it is reaching a newer and broader audience. On October 9th, 2005 to December 22nd of 2009 was Little Einsteins, created by Alexia Hurick and directed by Andy Thom, and also created by for the Baby Einstein Company, hence the Little Einstein sort of, I guess, quote connection, if you will. This centered around 4 kids as they went on these little adventures, learning, teaching, basically informing the audience and us about music and things with musicians like Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and those types of historians and old literature. And our main characters were June and Quincy, Leo, and their sort of talking, not talking rocket ship, literally just called Rocket. And each of these kids had their own little, quote, gifted things. June was a dancer, and she was also a ballerina. Quincy liked music, and Anne loved to sing, and Leo was literally the conductor of it all. Of course, he is the leader. Ironically enough, there's always a leader named Leo. But anyways, and each time they would go on these little road trips to different lands and different countries and the different things about music and where to find music, and not just in instruments but in singing and in animals and all sorts of other stuff. There was always a villain literally just called Big Jet. This show had 2 seasons, surprisingly enough, and a total of 67 episodes, because I feel like this has had quite a bit of an impact on pop culture. But fret not and fear not, there was a lot of reruns in 2011, February 2011 to be exact, till March of 2019. Wow. I guess this show found a heart and an audience in a new generation of people. Now let's switch gears for this, or should I say let's switch segments, because in November of 2005, we were introduced to Ooh and Ah. Creators and Canadian puppeteers Jason Hopley and Jamie Shannon came up with little mini sections, little mini segments in between shows and in between the Disney Channel / Playhouse Disney / Disney Junior block. December of 2006, they decided to air the block in these little segments around 5:55 a.m. and then later on they decided to change that to 6:55 a.m. each day. Or I think it was the other way around. Either way, this debuted, like I said, in November of 2005. This ended in December of 2006. However, these little segments about two monkeys, one named Ooh, one named Ah, one's red, one's blue. They did little shenanigans in between each block, and they would promote each of the coming up attractions, if you will. March 30th of 2007, they debuted as mascots, so I'm guessing like costume characters in Hollywood studios at the Playhouse Disney / Disney Junior section. And around July 15th of 2005 till February 13th of 2011 was Ooh, Ah, and You. I think they just changed the title and they kind of made it more interactive with the audience, kind of like a Dora the Explorer situation. And Ooh was played by Marty Steelnick, and Ah was actually even played by Jason Hopley himself. But man, it's been 20 years since this show had debuted, and here we are. Actually, almost 20 years once we hit November of 2025, but still, how crazy it's been 20 years later, and here we are talking about these little silly little monkeys. Finally, we have Johnny and the Sprites. This came out in 2005 and was written, created, and I think either produced or maybe not produced, but all I know is it was created and written and starred John Tartaglia. This had 2 seasons and 52 episodes and 5 shorts. This broadcasted on October 9th of 2005, and originally was those 5 shorts that I mentioned. They used to just be 5 shorts, and due to the extreme positive reaction, they wound up making these 5 shorts into 13 half-hour episodes in 2007. And this also aired on Disney Junior of March 23rd of 2012 into 2013, and it followed a man named Johnny as he moves into a new, I guess, suburbs or a new area filled with these little critters or these little creatures called Sprites. Lily, Basil, Root, and Ginger were these Sprites, and there was also other little magical creatures and talking woodland animals and all that kind of fun stuff. And I gotta say, the puppets were really cute. I gotta say, looking back on this, a lot of practicality, a lot of puppeteering, a lot of fun here it looks. I don't remember which one it was. I think the one with the red fuzzy hair. I remember when I was younger, really loved that guy, and he was super cute, and there was something really adorable about him. I think because he had that shy quality to him, and he was like the youngest of the group. I don't know, something about him. But this was a really cute show, like all these shows are. But I don't know, this is just one of those that seemed kind of fun, seemed kind of silly, but also in that like charming way. Just like with every other Disney Junior Playhouse Disney show, I don't know if I'd say this goes in the pantheon of lost media, but it's definitely one of those obscure ones that not a lot of people probably would remember. And those are the shows of part 3 for my history into Playhouse Disney. Let me know in the comments section, what did you guys think of part 3? And I have no idea how many parts we will be doing of this, but thank you again to Brandon for, so far, we've done a trilogy of these, and we may or may not continue with more. We'll see down the line, but thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all next time.